Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. Finally, the time has come when we will have our discussion on the yearly predictions for the upcoming year of 2022 for all the Virgo Ascendant natives. So friends, before we will start our discussion, it's my humble request that I have also uploaded a video on the yearly predictions of 2022 from the numerology perspective. So it is already uploaded on my channel. If you haven't watched that, it's my humble request to watch that video as well, because that is going to give you this idea regarding the flow of energies affecting or influencing all of us on a collective way next year. And friends, before we will start our discussion customized for all the Virgo Ascendant natives, first we will pray to Lord Ganesha. So Lord Ganesha, who is the Hindu god who represents good beginnings, auspiciousness, good omens, and who is the remover of all the obstacles. So Om Vakratun Mahakai Suryakoti Samprabha Nirvignam Kuruma Deva Sarvkareshu Sarvada. O Lord Ganesha, who has got a huge body, who has got a curved elephant trunk, and who has got a brilliance of the billions of suns, please remove all the obstacles from all of my endeavors. So okay friends, now we will start our discussion. So first we will try to look at that what kind of divination or prophecy I received from the tarot. So friends, the card which I received as a part of the theme for all of you guys for next year came out to be the card of the Star. So friends, for all of you people who are not very much familiar with tarot, it's my humble request to search on this card, because this card is definitely going to be flavorizing all of your endeavors next year. So friends, the Star card in itself is a very positive indication of wish fulfillment, renewed hope, and there is definitely going to be a chance that you will be able to put forth the highest version of yourself. Happiness, good health, hopefulness, optimism is definitely going to be flavorizing all of your endeavors next year. So in the form of the divination friends, and in the form of this major arcana tarot card, this is actually creating some very good energy. Now friends, moving ahead to the astrological perspective. So first we will try to understand that how the slow moving planets are going to be impacting or influencing you next year. So friends, beginning with the nodes. So next year Rahu and Ketu are going to be changing their signs. So friends, like Rahu is going to be now entering the sign of Aries. Basis your ascendant, it's going to be entering your 8th house, and Ketu is going to be entering the sign of Libra, and basis your ascendant, it is going to be entering your 2nd house. So friends, if you want to know regarding the transit of Rahu in your 8th house, so definitely 8th house is a little bit sensitive house which needs to be handled with a pinch of salt, with lot of contemplation, because friends, 8th house energy of Rahu could be seen as a blessing in disguise for all those people in whose occupation, livelihood, aspiration, any sort of research, any sort of exploration, spirituality, mysticism, concerns of joint resources are getting qualified. So all those people can get benefited. But the only problem here is that friends, Rahu doesn't have that sort of discernment in order to distinguish between good and bad. And when we talk about the 8th house is a little bit sensitive house. This house also has got the prospects of transcendental knowledge and wisdom, and 8th house also carries all sort of taboo fantasies, all sort of nefarious intentions, motives and desires. So it all comes down to how you will be handling or utilizing the energies of this transit of Rahu in your 8th house. The only sensitive part with this transit of Rahu is that because Aries is a little bit headstrong energy, and Rahu also represents impulse. So because of which friends, 8th house transit of Rahu needs to be handled with lot of contemplation. The area of life where you have to remain bit cautious is regarding the matters of the joint resources, regarding your dealing with your in-laws, and regarding with foraying into anything unknown or any risky or kind of connecting or socializing with the sketchy elements of the society. So there you have to remain bit watchful, bit cautious. But friends, let's say for example, if in your case any of the prospects of fame, foreign overseas exploration is getting qualified, so this placement of Rahu can be seen as very positive for that. Now friends, moving to Ketu's movement or shift in your second house. So friends, when we talk about the prospects of the second house is primarily the house of your finances. So one thing which you have to remain very cautious is that, first of all, beginning with the matters of your finances, because not only Ketu is present over there, which in itself is a significator of detachment, but also Saturn is also aspecting your second house with its 10th aspect. So because of which the financial handling needs to be done with lot of caution and contemplation. This is the time to be rather more miserly rather than being spendthrift. So these are the few things where you have to remain cautious. Also friends, when we talk about the second house related another aspect which is about your speech. So the influence of Ketu in the second house can actually create impediment in your speech, that you're not being able to speak at the right time, or it could make you very bitter, very critical. So while communicating on important matters, important sensitive situation, you have to remain very careful. Now friends, moving to another planetary aspect. So now if you have to look at the shift of the Jupiter, which in next year is going to come to your 7th house, is a very positive sign, because in the month of the end of the April, the beginning of the May, around the time is when Jupiter is going to be moving to the Pisces sign. So friends, from the April you will start feeling the resonance or the results of this shift of the Jupiter in your 7th house. 7th house, which is a prime house of your commercial activities, business activities, prospects of getting promotion, highest of the titles, any sort of your public image related concerns, prospects of getting married. So because of which, and because of the presence of Jupiter, its transit in your 7th house, it is actually going to bless you in all these areas of life. So let's say for example, the time when around in the month of November, when Jupiter is going to enter your 6th house. So definitely friends, when we talk about the blessings and auspiciousness of Jupiter in the 6th house, it might get drained in dealing with the challenges and the daily matters of the life. But trust me friends, ever since and whenever Jupiter is going to make a shift to your 7th house, it is going to be a very promising time for new opportunity, expansion in the life, and prospects of marriage and relationship as well. Now friends, lastly, if you want to know about the prospects of Saturn, so definitely Saturn is going to be disposed or placed in your 5th house only. Briefly, in the 3 months like May, June and July, Saturn is going to shift to the sign of Aquarius. It will again start retrograding back, and it will come back. So moreover, Saturn is going to be in its own jurisdiction. It is going to be stationed. It's going to be, transiting in your 5th house only, which is a very good sign friends, because whenever we talk about the matters of 5th house, primarily this is a house which tells about your mind, the way your mind functions, intelligence, your risk-taking abilities. So the placement of Saturn here can actually make your mind and your decision making very visionary, very contemplative, very wise. This kind of placement is generally seen as very beneficial for all those people who gain from either teaching or working with the younger people. So from all of those perspectives, for some concrete lifetime important investment and decision, this placement of Saturn in the 5th house can be seen as a very good sign. The only concern over here is that when we talk about the recreational aspect, when we talk about love, romance and passion, those things might get little bit suppressed because of the unrelentingness of the planet Saturn, making you more dutiful and more mature in the life. So that is something friends which I wanted to tell you as a part of the overall planetary influence which is going to be taking place next year, influencing all of you guys. Now we will start picking up each house prospects matters, and we will look deep into it, that how next year the combined planetary influence is going to impact or influence you on those specific areas of life. So friends, starting with your 1st house. So friends, trust me on this thing, I have got strong faith on tarot. So the moment I got this card, while I was selecting the card for you, doing the readings, so just mere appearance of the star card is a very positive sign. And just because here we are talking about the matters of first house, which is about your overall prosperity, overall growth, your public image, sense and degree of confidence. So I would say, and I would begin with, regarding any sort of wish fulfillment, lifetime important decision. So this year in itself is creating some very good energy for all of you guys. The second aspect is that definitely you will make some important rational decision this year. Some sort of important investments will definitely be made by you, and gains in partnership and enhancement of public image is definitely going to be a theme or overall theme of the matters of your first house in this whole year. Now moving ahead friends, now if you want to look at the prospects of your second house, so which primarily tells about your speech, it tells about your values, it tells about your earning capacity. So friends, just because of the presence of the Libra sign over here, so guys, in your case, for all the Virgo Ascendant native, the same planet which rules your second house of your finances, the same planet also rules your ninth house of your luck, your fortune and divine grace. So I always say this thing to all the Virgo Ascendant native, that the more charities you will make, the more kind of you will make use of your earning for some holy noble causes. Like I would say that whatsoever your earnings are, there is a certain percentage of money which should be kept aside for charitable or religious causes. Trust me, that small percentage is going to give a big leap in your earning capacity. So that is the one attitude which you need to opt. Now friends, coming to your second house related matters, your earning, your financial state this year. So like the way I have already said this thing, because of the combined effect of Ketu in your second house and the aspect of Saturn in your second house, this is not the year of going extravagant or being very spendthrift. A very wise, mature, kind of a very miserly approach regarding the financial aspect needs to be opted. Now that doesn't mean that your finances cannot replenish or cannot grow. That will happen, but the way you will manage it, that is definitely going to be in the scrutiny of the important and critical planets. Now friends, definitely because we have to take into consideration the transit of your second house lord planet. So Venus is going to be in its best dignified state in the month of May. So in the month of May, not only it is going to be exalted in your 7th house, but also it is going to be conjunct with the planet Jupiter as well. So I would say that the month of May, and the secondly friends, the month of July, when Venus is going to be in the Taurus sign, that too in your 9th house. So these 2 months, May and July, could be seen as a time when some sort of financial gain can happen. Now it all comes down to in which area of life you are working. You are a self-employed person, you are a content creator, so some sponsorship, some collaboration, some lucrative financial rewards, all those things can materialize. Moving ahead friends, now if you want to know about the prospects of your third house, which tells about your capacity to take initiative, your degree of valor, power, courage, your resourcefulness. So now friends, what is going to be happening over here is that Mars rules your third house and it has also got the rulership of your 8th house. So because of the rulership of two sensitive houses, Mars is not a very benefic planet for the Virgo Ascendant native as compared to Saturn or like for example Venus. But friends, over here now what is going to be happening for you guys is that next year you will start the next year with Mars being empowered in your third house. It will start the January month with Mars being empowered in your third house. Then it will shift to your 4th house. giving you strong resilience, strong endurance, strong fighting spirit. And then in the month of March, Mars is going to be exalted, being conjunct with Saturn in your 5th house. So I would say, friends, if you have any dreams, any aspiration, any startup plans and everything, so the next year can actually start with a bang for all of you guys. So it becomes very important that right the time when you will be watching this video, I guess I will be uploading this video on the auspicious occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi. So we still have another 2-3 months for the next year to begin. So I would say, if you have any aspirations, any dream of yours, specifically all those new plans, new ventures, new business ideas, so start or lay foundation to the next year with sowing seeds for all of your dreams or all of your plans. So in this regard, friends, the next year is going to begin with you being in a very empowered situation or state, demonstrating strong leadership qualities and strong fearlessness. But now, friends, with that said, there are certain months when you have to remain bit careful, because friends, your Rahu is in a very sensitive house, being transiting in your 8th house next year. So specifically the time period from the month of April and May. So now, friends, now what is going to be happening over here is that in the month of July and August, when your 3rd house lord Mars is going to be strengthened in your 8th house. So whether it's about the transit of Mars over your 8th house, or whether it's about the transit of Sun, which is your 12th house lord, to the 8th house. So those are the few months when you have to remain bit careful, bit cautious, that you should not be entangling or associating with the sketchy element of the society. If you have any unethical, any perversive, any unlawful activities or engagement, if that is getting qualified in your case, so prospects of defamation, prospects of sudden fall, all those things can also happen. So those few months, whenever Mars or Sun is going to be fueling more and more power to the Rahu by transiting in the 8th house, you have to take all of your decision with proper caution. But let's say, for example, friends, if in your case your dasha during those months is going to be very promising, and along with that your yogas in the chart is also a bit protective, so I would say, and if in your case any sort of research is getting qualified, any sort of prospects of fame, awaiting new opportunity, awaiting result of any impending lawsuit is getting qualified, so result as per your liking, as per your wish can also happen. So these are the few things, friends. But the good part over here is that, friends, this whole year Saturn being well disposed in your 5th house is actually going to make you very wise in any sort of planning aspect, and Jupiter's transit in your 7th house is definitely going to give you a very broad sense of vision regarding your goals and plans. Moving ahead, friends, now if you want to understand the prospects of your 4th house. So friends, definitely your 4th house is being ruled by the planet Jupiter. So till the month of April, when Jupiter, your 4th house lord, is going to be transiting in the 6th house. So that could be a time when Jupiter might be feeling itself very strained in dealing with the daily challenges, all the competition, all the conflicting situation in your daily life. But the moment, and from May onwards, once Jupiter is going to enter your 7th house, all the good aspects, all the good gifts of prosperity, wisdom, knowledge, opportunities will start coming in your life. And apart from that, friends, 4th house lord being transiting in the 7th house could be seen as a very good time for any overseas plans. There could be success in the implementation of any of your business ideas or plans of your image makeover. So even from all of those perspectives, this transit and the prospects of your 4th house is definitely going to bloom next year. And lastly, friends, one thing which I want to say over here is that do receive blessings of your mother. Friends, moving to the prospects of your 5th house. So definitely, friends, Saturn is going to be transiting in your 5th house only. So I would say from 5th house, Saturn is going to be aspecting your 7th house, your 11th house, and your second house. So because of which, friends, definitely the transit of Saturn or its empowered state in your 5th house, before Saturn is actually going to make a complete foray in your 6th house in the year of 2023, a complete shift to the sign of Aquarius. So I would say till that time, Saturn's transit in your 5th house is there to make you more mature, make you more wise, and actually encourage you to invest in some important lifetime decision. So regarding all of that, friends, this aspect or this transit of Saturn is definitely going to bring lot of good results in the form of good decision taken by you, good choices made by you during this whole year. Whether it's about the prospects of Saturn influencing your 5th house, but also because Saturn has also got the rulership of your 6th house as well. So Saturn is definitely going to give you this capacity to handle all the conflicts with complete discrimination. So friends, I'm not seeing you guys vulnerable in any way regarding the matters of the 5th house and 6th house. The only sensitivity or vulnerability over here is that definitely there could be a little bit of the frustration on the account of children. Your bar of expectation might go very high, or even in the matters of love and romance, there might be kind of little bit initial disappointments which you have to accept. Now moving ahead, friends, now if you want to know the prospects of your 7th house, so friends, the prospects of your 7th house is definitely going to bloom because of the influence of Jupiter over there. So the transit of Jupiter in your 7th house, which is going to take place after the first quarter of next year, could be seen as a time of many new opportunities which you will attract because of your own good decision making, because of your own good handling of the situation, and the kind of influence you hold in the society. Because friends, from the 7th house, Jupiter is going to be like aspecting all the air houses, whether we talk about the 11th house or we talk about the 3rd house. So it has everything to do with the knowledge, with travel, with new contacts, influential contacts. So from all of those perspectives, this transit of Jupiter in your 7th house is actually going to open up your door of opportunities. And the next thing is that, friends, definitely for all those people who are single, who are awaiting to get married, so this transit of Jupiter after the month of May in your 7th house can be seen as a very good news for all those people to run into and get married with the prospective right potential match. Moving ahead, friends, regarding the matters of your 8th house. So definitely, friends, for all the ascendants, while creating this yearly prediction video, whenever I come down to the 8th house, I always say this thing, that how well managed or well equipped you are going to remain this year while handling any sort of unpredictability or any unpredictable sudden situation. So I would say, friends, the bar of suddenness this year for all of you guys is very high. So try to remain bit watchful of your actions, of your association. I have already said this thing, that there are certain things, friends, which you need to learn if you actually want to be on a better side of the planets. For Rahu, like alcohol, all sort of toxic drugs, all these kind of lifestyle is like giving more and more, adding more fuel to the fire. So it's just like that with your Rahu's presence in your 8th house and Saturn disciplining your 5th house. I would say this year it becomes altogether very important for you guys to inculcate a sattvic lifestyle. The more you can refrain yourself, because not only it's the Rahu in the 8th house, 2nd house, which is the house of your eating habits, and Saturn in the 5th house aspecting back to your like 2nd house. So I would say, friends, a sattvic, a pure, pious lifestyle in the form of people you hang out with, the food you eat, your lifestyle choices becomes very important this whole year for you guys. So friends, I would say in the mid of the April and the mid of the May, the time period when Sun is going to be transiting your 8th house. So when Rahu has also shifted the signs, it has entered your 8th house, and when Sun is going to go over it in transit, I would say that is going to be a very sensitive time when you have to guard your public image. And the second thing is that friends, in the month of July and August, when Mars is going to be transiting over your 8th house, so try to refrain from impulsive action, very impulsive decision making. Make control of your anger, try not to be very reactive, and even while at the time of driving or handling any machinery, any equipments or weapons, if that qualify in your case, try to remain very cautious. Do not succumb to any sort of reckless action during that time. Moving ahead friends, now if you want to understand the prospects of your 9th house, so definitely friends, your 9th house is being ruled by the planet Venus itself. So the months of May and the months of July can be seen as very promising for all of you guys, because in the month of May, Venus is going to be exalted in your 7th house, and in the month of July, Venus is going to be in a dignified state in the 9th house. So these are the 2 months where some sort of religious pilgrimage, or friends, it all comes down to individual to individual. If in your case a very active, I would not use the word hedonistic lifestyle, but if a very exuberant lifestyle is getting qualified, so you might indulge in lot of luxury. Now this could be some travels, some good invites. So all those experiencing the flavor of luxury can become a theme for you guys, specifically in the months of May and July. And for all those people in whose case religious austerity is their prime driving motivation, so these are the few months where some sort of pilgrimage, some sort of religious retreat can also take place. But definitely the prospects of luck is definitely going to help you in these 2 months. Moving ahead friends, now if you want to know regarding the prospects of your 10th house, so friends, this year I'm not seeing a very good energy regarding bringing a change at your work front. Like the way we say this thing that from the 10th house, if you want to look about any prospects of change and all, you have to give attention to the 8th house from the 10th, which is the 5th house. So Saturn is definitely going to be very grounded over there. So now what I'm seeing over here is that whatever you are doing, try to be working hard. You can think about some side venture, some additional skill with your regular job. You can think about laying seeds to some secondary income or some opportunity. But this year is not creating a very positive energy from switching your main field or line of work. So regarding that, you have to remain a bit cautious. Try not to take any sudden, any impulsive decision. And the prospects of your profession, your career, new opportunity in your existing environment can also happen, can materialize, because of the Jupiter's transit from your 6th house coming to your 7th house. Friends, try to understand this thing that 6th house and 7th house are very intimately connected with each other. You only get the power, you only get the authority, you only get the new opportunities even at your work front when people have seen the kind of hard work you have been doing in your daily nature of work, which is always getting observed, which is the 6th house. So at the time from November, have you been working very hard, burning midnight oil, staying long extended hours at your job, at your work place? So I would say all of your hard work, the moment Jupiter is going to come from the month of May onwards to your 7th house, in your current existing environment, some new opportunity, new role, new financial reward can take place. But making a complete shift from your main line of work is not something which is getting very strongly promised. Moving ahead friends, regarding the prospects of your 11th house, for any awards, recognition and all, this year is creating a very good energy, because not only Jupiter is aspecting your 11th house, but also Saturn is also aspecting it. So the prospects of 11th house is very strong. So I would say, friends, if you have been working hard in any specific line of work, so I would say try to remain very optimistic. Try to remain very optimistic, very positive. Your hard work will not go in vain, will not go to drain. It is definitely going to or bound to get recognized or acknowledged this year. And lastly, friends, regarding the prospects of your 12th house. So I would say, friends, yes, definitely all the prospects of spirituality and all the prospects of travels are very strong this year, because of the influence of Jupiter in the 7th house of foreign exploration, influence of Rahu in the 8th house, and Saturn being strengthened in the 5th house of spirituality, doing yoga and meditation. So I would say the prospects of spirituality, acquisition of knowledge and overseas exploration, all these prospects are definitely very strong for all of you guys. So with that, friends, I'm going to end the video on the same note with which I began. So I again pray to Lord Ganesha that this year proves to be very successful, very harmonious for all of you guys. All of your wishes shall come true. Your work, your personality is definitely going to shine, rise and shine this year. That is something which I pray to Lord Ganesha for all of your success. And friends, yes, definitely I will be uploading this video very much in advance. We still have another 2-3 months left. So if you think any suggestion you have in order to make another version of these yearly prediction videos, inculcating all of your suggestion, your feedback, so please feel free to write your suggestion on the comment section. So that is something, friends, which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs for the yearly predictions for the upcoming year of 2022 for all the Virgo Ascendant natives. For further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyavad.